everybody, and welcome to Real Madrid Hub, your source for Real Madrid news. I am your host, Eric Rivera. And well, it was a great weekend for all of us Madridistas as Real Madrid returned to the Bernabeu and won the game against Celta de Vigo 5-2, and fantastic attacking football in the second half. They looked completely unstoppable, and one of those players that looked unstoppable was none other, of course, than Vinicius, who continues to score and continues to find the back of the net and just look phenomenal doing so. So one of the first pieces of news was coming from Diario Marca by Jose Felix Diaz. And what it is that essentially Vinicius will not be punished for celebrating the way he did, which was where he jumped into the fans. And of course, a lot of things were talked about whether he should be punished because of the fact, that he jumped into the crowd, and essentially with COVID going on and COVID protocols, of course, that was something that, in all honesty, he really shouldn't have done. But, at this point, the reason that they're not going to sanction him is because it's already happened before in the league. And actually, Jose Felix Diaz brings up the point that the last game that Real Madrid had, August 22nd, when they played Levante was able to tie the game with a great goal by Campaña. And Campaña also ran into the crowd at the Ciutat de Valencia stadium and celebrated with the fans when he scored that goal. So essentially, Vinicius should not be punished for something that has already happened before. Obviously, the things that, what happened to Campaña is the same thing that happened to Vinicius, which is where the referee basically realized that the problem was, of course, creating possibly a security issue, and for that reason he gave him a yellow card, which is essentially the same thing that happened and will happen to Vinicius. Vinicius scored the goal, ran into the crowd. Some of them didn't have their mask on, some of them did. Some of them didn't have it on correctly, and then at this point, obviously that is an issue, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to have to undergo different COVID tests and everything like that before he can return to the field. But Sanchez Martinez, who was the referee of the situation, saw what happened and basically gave him a yellow card, which is the same thing that has happened before with other players. And in the laws of the sport, it says that the refs can give them a yellow card for this situation, because of the fact that it can cause a security situation, and that is the reason why Vinicius, his celebration shouldn't go to anything further than what he's currently getting. Was it responsible of him? No, probably not. It was not responsible. No, not probably. It wasn't responsible for him to do that. Of course, in the situation that is going on in the world currently with COVID and trying to keep everybody safe and trying to keep everybody, of course, trying to limit the number of infections and cases and everything like that. And the fact that these players, kind of have to maintain themselves in somewhat of a bubble, it probably wasn't the best idea. But at the end of the day, the emotion got the best of him. He ran into the crowd, wanted to celebrate with the fans, and it was the first time for Real Madrid to be back. Understandable, but obviously not the best thing to do, but it happens. And people are calling for Vinicius's head and everything, and I'm pretty sure that's because he's with Real Madrid. Had any other player done it, probably not that big of a deal. I didn't hear this many things being said when Campaña did it for Levante. So it's not going to happen, and that's nothing's going to get it shouldn't go to a bigger situation. So moving on from there, obviously the game was fantastic, and the two players that stand out the most were, of course, Vinicius Jr. and Karim Benzema, who scored a hat-trick. Benzema actually scored a 10 out of 10 when it comes to the SOFA score rating, playing 90 minutes, getting 1 assist, getting 3 goals, 3 shots on target, so 100% efficiency in that regard. 3 shots on target, 3 goals, successful dribbles, touched the ball, 57 touches, 86% accuracy in his passes, and actually had 4 key passes. So, he was just a phenomenal player. during this game, of course, and was able to get the hat trick. And the hat trick was, of course, assisted, of course, by Vinicius. And then Karim also assisted Vinicius in a fantastic goal as well. So these two guys were really the standout players of what was a phenomenal day for Real Madrid in front of goal. Yes, there are defensive issues that still need to be addressed, but in front of goal, the guys are clicking really well, and it seems like these two guys are going to be definitely an issue for defenders this season. With that said, Vinicius scored an 8.1 out of out of possible 10 points from SofaScore. He actually played 89 minutes, scored one goal. Of course, didn't have any assists. His accuracy of passes was only 80%, but his dribble attempts, he had 10 dribbles. Five were essentially successful, and he won one aerial duel. He won 10 ground duels essentially for the ball. And really, the funny thing is that these stats and these stats were actually superior than superior stats than Messi and Neymar have gotten. So really, that was pretty interesting. Of course, the fact that these guys that's Vinicius is just so phenomenal at this point. He's doing so well right now, and he just looks unstoppable. It's really fantastic to think, when he's been criticized in the past, been criticized by people such as myself on my own podcast, just wondering, not criticizing his talent, but wondering how long Real Madrid was really going to wait for him to reach the potential that everyone felt he had, essentially because he was in the final third so ineffective in not making correct decisions, not making correct decisions when it came to passes or trying to shoot on goal. His finishing needed help, but the guy has done everything possible to improve. When other kids his age would essentially fold under all the pressure that has been put on this guy, he hasn't. If anything, he's gotten better. And if that's not something telling of his mental fortitude and his talent and his Madridismo, then I don't know what is. I mean, essentially, this guy is a phenom, and it is awesome that he is playing for Real Madrid and finding his form the way he has this season. Absolutely great, and we just hope it continues. Consistency is key, and we hope it continues with Vinicius also, that he doesn't run into any situation with injuries or anything like that, because Madrid has had bad luck with that in the past. And Benzema said as much, in an article by Rubén Gómez from Defensa Central. Benzema spoke after the game against Celta, and one of the things that stood out the most was that he said, "I like to play with Vinicius. He is a phenom." He was asked a variety of questions after the game. He had a small press conference right after the game, and definitely after scoring his hat trick, coming back to the Bernabeu, it was a total celebration at El Santiago Bernabeu. So they asked him a couple of questions, and one of them was adapting to playing in front of the crowd again. And he says, "It was a special night for us. The ambiance, the people, he said the start of the game was strange. We have to adapt to playing in front of the fans again. It is tough. We tried to win the game, and then in the end, we were able to do it. In the second half, we did what we had to do." Talking about the support of the fans, he says, "We need the support of the fans, and they gave us all of that support. And in the second half, we did better." Helping with goals and assists, he was asked, "I feel good that I can help my coach, that I can help." He goes, "I feel good with the help of my coach, the help of the president, the help of the fans, and of my teammates. Anytime that I can help with my goals and my assists, I will be happy." Speaking of Vinicius, he said, "Vinicius is a phenom. He's young. I like to play with him a lot. I speak with him very much, and he has demonstrated that he can always play with this team." Speaking of, he was told that, Camavinga, obviously, was he happy about his, French, his French compatriot scoring the goal. And he said, yes, he is a great player. He is young, and he's going to give us many things. He was also asked about the defense, of course, and about getting scored on, and you know, once again, the defensive lapses that cost Real Madrid, to be on the receiving end of goals. And he said it's not only the defense, it's all of us. It's also the forwards. We all have to work together so that we do not concede goals. We are going to try to win the games by scoring a lot of goals and not receiving them. They asked him, how will you receive less goals? He said, with work. Every day you have to get better. And the important thing, of course, right now is that we are getting the points. But of course, everything is about work and working to get better. Speaking about Modric, of course, which was another great thing to see yesterday, was the standing ovation that Modric received when he came off the pitch, having absolutely another phenomenal game. Modric, could have scored a goal. It was essentially his goal, his shot that was deflected that falls to Camavinga, and Camavinga is able to score the goal and get his debut goal. But it was Modric who did all the work, running, with an incredible run right through the middle of the defense, and then hitting the ball essentially with the outside of his foot, and it was stopped by the goalkeeper, but the bounce goes to Camavinga, who finishes the goal. But he says, Modric, what else am I Benzema talks about Modric. He says, what else am I going to say about him? He is one of the best in his position. He gives so many things to us on the field. So that was the news from Real Madrid, an absolute phenomenal night. I've said it on my podcast, Y Nada Más podcast. You guys can check that out. I speak a little bit about the defense and all that type of stuff. Because of the fact that we score goals and we're scoring so many goals does not gloss over the fact that there is defensive work that needs to take place and we need to get better defensively. But all in all, in the end, it was a great night. It was a great night from so many narratives, so many good things happening. I mean, Benzema gets a hat-trick. Camavinga scores on his debut. Vinicius looks phenomenal, continues to surprise everyone. Well, not surprise everyone, just continues to leave everybody in awe with his play. Gets a goal, draws a penalty, draws fouls. He looked absolutely unstoppable. There were many times where you could see he was demoralizing the defense because he kept on getting by them. It was just great. A fantastic performance by Modric, by Valverde. Miguel Gutierrez had a shaky start, but then gets a great assist on one of Benzema's goals. All in all, being back at the Bernabeu, seeing the fans again, hearing the fans again, it was just a great night for Real Madrid. Started off shaky. The defense, like I said, needs to wake up a little bit, and I think just chemistry needs to get better with that. Needs to solidify a little bit more, but if we were asking for goals last season, we are getting them now. It was a great game for Real Madrid and a good day to be a Madridista. So thank you guys for listening to Real Madrid Hub. If you want all the updates from Real Madrid Hub, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification button so you get notified anytime myself or my good friend JOTA Real Madrid upload to this channel, so you get all the up-to-date information. JOTA is constantly updating the channel, and I am daily as well, so check it out, and make sure you stay tuned here on Real Madrid Hub, and thank you once again for listening.